painted the one year I painted a townhouse without permission.
The landlord must have a field day.
I used to say all the time, Pinterest has destroyed the interior decorator's life. You guys now, because we talked about Hush, it'll be on your phone. Blue Sleep and Hush will be on your phone.
More than likely.
By the end of the day. So you're going to...
They're listening. Welcome back to the second episode of the Figuring It Out podcast. Today we are sitting down with a local business here in Sault Ste. Marie. They sell quite literally everything here from plants, furniture, bedding, home decor, and much more. So we're going to be diving into the back end of her business and how she got started here in Sault Ste. Marie. Welcome today's guest, Amelia. So we already rolled an intro. But I guess first and foremost, thank you for being the first ever sponsor of the podcast.
Oh.
Yeah, and you're the second ever episode, so thank you for that. And we just want to say this episode is brought to you by Paint Decor Concepts. We want to thank you for letting us film in your space while you guys are open. But like I said, we did a quick little intro about you. If you kind of want to introduce yourself and let the viewers know who you are, where you're from, and just, kind of like a brief intro.
Oh, okay. My name's Amelia Ritchie. I was born and raised in Sault Ste. Marie. Went to college in London, Ontario to become an interior designer.
Okay.
And then ended up staying there for a while. Came back, and I worked for Benjamin Moore since I was probably 16 years old. So when I went away to school, I ended up working for a large company there and some really other cool companies. When I came home, I was really excited to bring design to the city because it wasn't something that we had a lot of.
Yeah.
And it was kind of pretty much of a struggle because people didn't really understand what a designer, decorator did. So it was hard for me to just jump into a job of an interior designer. So I went back to my roots to go back into working for Benjamin Moore and ended up working for a few other companies. And then realized that the city didn't have enough of everything, everything that we loved, I would have to order a special order. So, sat down with my dad, who has amazing businesses in cities, and we talked about it, and he said, you know what, maybe it's time for us to kind of jump into bringing Benjamin Moore to the city and what you want, because I said I don't want to work in a hardware store. I don't want to do that. I want something more and elevated. So that's what we did. We started on Trunk Road and then moved into this amazing space, and we're hoping to bring the Sioux things that companies design, that we're in a sustainable, that's what our approach is, and upcycled, so that's like our story. And we're hoping that we can continue to do that for the Sioux. And
that's awesome. I guess just out of curiosity, going back to university experience, you said you took interior design. What's that like as far as that actually being something you use when it comes to the actual job, or did you learn most just from doing the actual job? Like, what do you learn if you take interior design?
Well, it's a lot more than what people think. It's very hard. It's difficult. You pretty much learn how to build first, and then you create after. So a lot of it is like, as if you're a draftsman, a draftsman or an architect. So you have to learn how to build it first before you can do that. So it's actually very hard. Like if anybody who's in the industry and construction knows that code is very difficult. Like if you ever looked at the book of code,
it's
ridiculous. To learn how to read it is crazy. So that's like a class on its own. Like the building code and having a building code for Northern Ontario opposed for California, or even Southern Ontario, like all the different places. Everything's completely different, and it changes. So you could be in the middle of a project, and if something changes, you have to comply to that. So interior design is not as
easy as people.
It's actually very, very, very difficult. I actually ended up afterwards going to a private college called Westervelt, and it was Police Foundations, and interior decorating.
Wow, what a combo.
Yeah, it was so weird,
Yeah.
right? So I took a year course. It was very, very expensive, but I just didn't feel that at the time. Now we're going back 20 some years ago. So at the time, the interior design program led you to do more building and more drafting. I felt like at the end of my projects, I was just struggling to get my vision in, because you took, let's just say, 5 hours to do all the actual decorating, but you were taking like, say, 30 to 50 hours to do the drawings. So your all the passion and all that came in at the end. So this course was different because it was 1 year, it was crammed in, but you learned about textiles and color and textures and lighting and all that stuff. So it was probably like the coolest thing I did. And that to me was what I could have probably just done that for what I knew I was going to do. Yeah. I don't want to be an architect. I wanted to just make things, like beautiful and make spaces. And I like everything design. And like I have an artist background too, so that's what I wanted to do. So that 1 year was amazing. And when we graduated, we were graduated with the police foundation, so we were all like in the same place. So we were ushered down with all the police officers.
Such a weird combo.
I know, but it was super cool.
It is cool. Yeah.
And it was great because I got to work and go to school.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that were when I was in college, it was hard. Like at first when I was at Fanshawe, because your classes were sporadic. This was like you came in in the morning at 9, and by 2:00 you were done. So you knew what your course, the thing was.
Everything was. It was all laid out for you.
Yeah.
And where was this specialty college located? Where was it?
In London, Ontario.
Oh, it's in London.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm not 100% sure if it's still like that.
Still exists,
but like even the course we have our student Hannah, and her showing me what they're doing. Unreal.
Is she down in Fanshawe as well?
She's in Toronto.
Is she in Toronto? Okay.
Yeah, but like the programs that they have, so we didn't have programs. We didn't have cell phones. You had to dial up to go on the internet, and I took a whole class. I remember sitting there trying to get through. Like it took, like to dial up, it would take like 20 minutes. So you'd sit down and you'd have to wait for.
What does dial up mean?
How you got your Wi-Fi, I guess.
So like
that's
like when you were picking courses and classes and stuff like that. Like it was all through.
Oh no, you wrote everything down.
Oh my God! Wow.
You did everything by hand. My drafting was all by hand. Like you had scales. You had. You sat there and you measured things out, and it was all by hand. And then by my third year, they kicked into CAD, but it was so small because it just came out. It's such small training that it was easier for me to do a whole entire floor plan by hand with elevations and perspective, because the programs were so unuser friendly at the time.
Yeah.
So like, and when we talk programs like DOS, like, do you remember what DOS is? No. Okay.
Oh,
anyways,
that might be a deep
code. You type in like words that meant code.
Yeah.
That would draw a line. Like you didn't just
I'm sure when our moms watch this, they'll be like,
yes,
I know exactly what she's talking about.
Yeah.
There's gonna be people who'll be like, I know exactly what she's talking about. I remember that, like 100%.
So it was a different time. So going through that, I made it a big deal in my life to keep current all the time. So I'm always learning. That's always what we're doing. We're keeping up. Sometimes I think we go a little bit too far, because I love different cultural design. So, and like even just when we go to Toronto and stuff like that, we'll get into a design. Like just like even the sustainability, the upcycling, everything that we're doing, and is something that hasn't hit the Sioux yet. But in Toronto, you can't even buy a condo without green space. So everything is going to that way. Like,
and you're already kind of
we're already
thinking way ahead
because it's going to take that long for us to really nail it and get it right.
Yeah. So kind of how long has it been now since like the inception, like the opening of this store? Like
10 years.
10 years. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's fairly new. It's not that old, like the store yet.
And it's crazy because when we first opened, we were on Trunk Road, and we had our clientele, and then when we decided to move here, this space was just perfect for what we wanted. I always envisioned having all the glass and being in a space, and I at first I was kind of scared to come downtown, but it's insane how beautiful and quickly the downtown is growing.
Yeah.
And I feel like in the next 4 years, it's going to be a place again. Like I was used to London downtown. In London downtown, you could go and to the flower shops at 6 o'clock at night, go get flowers, go for dinner, go for a drink, and then walk downtown, and it's just beautiful.
Well, yeah, even when my dad tells stories about when they were growing up, obviously they did everything outside. There was no phones or anything like that, and he would tell stories all the time about coming downtown, and they'd bar hop from this place to this place to this place, and it'd be nothing but tons of people, packed.
Yeah.
Now it's house parties.
But
and
even,
you don't even,
I was gonna say, even like, do you guys have like a dance club? Like,
No.
do you have where you can go and like, it's not right. It's different. It's
which
evolved.
is exciting. I'm glad that
Here, should we wait, let's hold for this. Let's hold. We're gonna just hold for the
whirlwind.
the street sweeper. I'll cut it. I'll fix it in post. I'll fix all this in post.
But yeah, no, it's good because even when we spoke with Kevin, the guy at PC, who kind of had the same vision, is excited to see that downtown's coming together and it's looking a lot better, which is exciting for us too because we're obviously still 20. So the more pubs, the better the downtown gets, the better it is for us.
Yeah, like it has changed from when I was your age. It was so different, but everything's different. You guys are so quicker. You're getting successful quicker. You're doing things different than we did, right? We had sort of like a cookie cutter way of life, right? You went to school.
Yeah.
You came home. Not a lot of people stayed where they went to college. A lot of people came home. I think my time people started to not come back home. I remember that being a change. But you either came back home or you started like real life wherever you were, and that meant right away you jumped either into your career, you got a job, and then you met somebody, and then you still lived at home, and you dated, and then 2 years, 1 year, 2 years, then there's the engagement, then there's the big planning of the 400,000 people wedding, and then you buy a house, then you get married first, and then you buy your first house, or you start looking while you're getting married, then you move in once, so like you don't even really know each other enough. Then you moved in, and then you started to think about a family. And that was just like boom, boom, boom. Now I'm looking at kids and your careers at your age are going just a little bit forward, unreal. And that's awesome. Like your independence is different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely different.
Yeah, and in a good way. Like I think it's really cool. But I feel like some people are coming back again from the student, bringing what they know. There's never, when I graduated and I came home, I can't tell you, there might have been not even 5 decorators or interior designers, and decorators, I mean like self-taught in the business. I probably was one of 3 like actual people who had certified and in the industry from schooling. So, and now I'm seeing more and more are starting to, it's becoming more of a career choice for people.
Yeah. Well, right when we walked in here, when we were here the other day and we were shooting ads for the place, the first thing I kind of noticed was like, and I wonder if it's obviously, I'm assuming it's intentional, but we walked right in. I'm like, oh wow, it's beautiful. Like the windows, all the furniture. Like as someone who does videography and kind of content creation, I'm like, this is gonna be perfect for this because, well, it's gorgeous. We don't even have to do anything. Like you kind of made our job easier for us just by having this place look the way it is. So like, I want to know, obviously, is that all intentional?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and the thing is that we bring, this is what I want like people to understand, is that when you come in, it's inspiring. So you can take this and use it with this. Like we try to set it up. Like right now, obviously we had a bunch of things sell, so we're looking at but like by tomorrow, this whole place will be changed. Yeah. And we set things up that give people visions that they can have in their home, and not just here's the sofa with the 2 matching chairs. Like everything can be different now. Textures can go with each other. So that's what we love to do, and that's why this space is incredible. Like you sort of have your inspirational design space here, and then you move into there, and you gradually kind of get into like our hardware area, and keeping it separate was intentional because we want you to be inspired, and then let's get to what you can use.
That was going to be my next question, the layout, because I was going to say, like, you walk in and it's all furnished and obviously set up a certain way for a certain look, but then you move into the back of the store and then you kind of have like the paint and everything.
Yeah.
So it's I kind of like
yeah.
I like how you set that up.
And we wanted it to be that you don't walk in and bam, it's like the paint colors in your face, and you're overwhelmed, right?
You want to come in and almost be relaxed, like I get some inspiration and then head back.
We actually have customers that say when they have like a stressful day, they'll come here
and just stand in the
they'll
front
just
and
hang out and walk through things and look at things. And I
That's awesome.
and like I have like I've had anxiety, and so when we design place spaces and everything like that, we really take everything into consideration. Even the products that we carry now, like all the Hush products that we carry, the Blue Sleep, they're all like from learning about things, and like people's sleep has gotten worse and worse and worse. And I had the worst sleep ever for, I'm going to say about it was before, those 2 kind of years screw me up that kind of disappeared, right? So like, let's just say 5 or 6 years ago when we moved here, we went to, they used to have in Toronto the furniture store, furniture show. So I went there, and there was a company, it was Blue Sleep. The gentleman was from Italy, and I was telling him, like, you know, when I get stressed, I carry it all in my neck. So my sleeping is terrible. I've bought all water pillows. I've bought all the best.
Everything,
I've spent all the money. And I said, nothing has helped me. And he explained to us what Blue Sleep was about. It blew my mind. And I'm like, okay, if this is real. And he's like, oh, I'm telling you it's real.
So this is the cure for anyone who's having bad sleep.
Because it's the technology that goes into it. The fact that, like, it has no chemicals in it. And like the last pillow I spent $250, I couldn't even use it because it just smelt like chemicals.
Wow.
So this is zero chemicals in it. They're rated for, like, they're amazing. It's a water expanded gel, and they have different things, but it's super cooling. And like 6 years ago, people weren't talking about that.
Yeah.
That wasn't a thing in the suit.
Honestly, even now, like I doesn't even come to mind when I'm thinking about sleep, like
Right.
the effects of like my pillow. It's something to put my head on, right? Like you're not thinking like it could drastically change your
sleeping
sleep quality.
Yeah. Like my son takes his pillow with him anywhere he goes, and they go fishing. He's got his pillow all the time. But like something as simple as that. And then Hush products, same thing. Like they're you know what? They were young guys who had a vision of, you know, no chemicals. They wanted cool night's sleep because, again, like the better you sleep, the better you perform in the morning, the better your mind is, and all that stuff, right? So like all these little things that I was struggling with, I didn't realize that I'm not the only, I brought it in. So he sent me a pillow, and it was like, oh my gosh, like I'm sleeping better. I'm feeling better. My neck's not hurting as much as it was before. So I brought it in, and I didn't realize how many other people had the same problem, right? And how many people want to sleep cool, you know, and some people like warm. So we have stuff for that too. But now these companies, like, they're huge on the internet, but you can't feel or touch their product.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're literally going,
e-commerce.
okay, this guy's telling me that this is a super cool duvet, and it's going to do all this. It's, you know, NASA helped them develop their duvet and all this stuff. So I'm just going to order it, and then that's how it's going to be. Now you can come in and you can actually see it before you purchase it. And we are a lot cheaper, inexpensive than online. Like, we've made that purpose. We don't need to. They have to count shipping and all that stuff, right? We don't have to. So we take our cost and make it affordable for people to still have all those. Because you're gonna, if you see it, like you guys now, because we talked about Hush, it'll be on your phone. Blue Sleep and Hush will be on your phone.
More than likely,
by the end of the day. So you're gonna,
they're listening.
Yeah, you're gonna look at that and you're gonna say, oh gosh, I like this. But now you'll be able to, even their mattress. Their mattress is one of the best-selling mattresses in Canada right now because of the fact that they were able to put a coil and the gel foam without it getting saggy, but they're able to ship it in a box, which doesn't make sense, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
But before you wouldn't be able to. Now you can just come in here and just look at it, see what the material is and all that stuff.
Sure.
So that's our whole thing, is to taking huge name brands and make it accessible to you to
Locally.
touch and feel and kind of figure out if it's the way to go.
So
sorry.
Talking about your products here, I guess, obviously there's a lot of plants in here. Both of our moms, half of the stores in our house. So I guess out of curiosity, what are the top sellers that your customers gravitate to plant-wise?
Here at Pink Decor Concepts, we are so excited to be your local Hush and Blue Sleep dealer. We want you to get all the full physical and emotional health benefits of a cool night's sleep. Come in and see us at 826 Queen Street East, open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 4. We're so much more than a paint store.
When it comes to plants, easy.
Yeah.
That's like the best. And we've brought in some plants that were like, ooh, these are so cool. And then like we have them for 3 days and we're like, oh, we hate you. Like you're terrible.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
everybody loves the snake plants are fantastic. The ZZs are amazing. The ZZs are the ones behind you that kind of in that basket there. Yeah. And then like anything philodendron is super easy. So you got your pink princesses, your monsteras and stuff. And we always love the birds of paradise. I love birds of paradise. Personally, I just think that they fill a room really nice. They're happy. They're a very happy plant.
Yeah.
And they work like they're a tree. So it like does double duty and they're good. They're like the reason we got into plants was actually a friend of mine, Bree, she's awesome. And she kind of got me into the whole plant world. And so, we talked about it and then I started learning about the different types of plants and she's like, okay, start slow. Don't be going to, because I'm reading these. I'm like, ooh, agaves. We still have them. Like they're up there and they're like spiky guys. I've had those. They probably have been with us probably for the 6 years that we started sending plants. They've both been here. They're gorgeous, but you can't like touch them. You have an animal. They just hang out there. But like you learn from things, right? The same things with plants. We try to explain to people that certain plants are better for their conditions. If you want to buy a plant and put a fiddle leaf in a dark corner, it's going to last a month.
Right.
You know what I mean? So and we do have people that have like my team has really a lot of knowledge about it now.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And obviously the name of your store is Paint Decor Concepts. So would you guys say that you specialize in Benjamin Moore paint?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
I've been with them since I was 16 years
Yeah.
old. I was, like I used to work for Labatt's Brewery. I used to be their, specialist for paint specifications officer. So I would go, and my husband, this is like one of the coolest stories too, but I used to go to the Labatt's Brewery in London, and it's a huge facility. And I would go and take the paint, tell them what they had to use, specify certain things, and like every Friday they would give me $60, and then they would pull up the Labatt's Brewery truck at my work at Clancy's Rainbow where I worked in London and drop me off a case of beer, but because I'm a girl, Coors Light, and it was 4 6-packs. So
That's
I would give one
hilarious.
to my boss. I would give, I'd keep one just for at home, like, cause I didn't drink beer.
Yeah.
And I'd give one to the girl I worked with and one to now my husband.
Yeah.
And, like Friday night you walked in, you had
That's
a little,
awesome.
and it was a cool extra job, but like learn the things I had to learn. I went to school to work in Benjamin Moore. They don't do that anymore. I wish they did that. I went to school. I had to go to school for 2 weeks. I had to sit in classes and learn about everything, interior and exterior. And then I had to take an exam in order to work.
Just to work
At Clancy's Rainbow. I mean, it doesn't exist anymore, but man, that's cool training.
Yeah.
Like when I already worked for Benjamin Moore here, so I thought I knew everything, but no. And Southern Ontario, completely different animal. Drying time on paint, because they're so like, they're warmer, but their humidity is crazy, so that affects everything.
So yeah.
Yeah.
You ever even think about stuff like that? Like
No,
climate
I would
and
never
how
think
it could
about anything like
affect.
that.
Oh
like-
yeah, different.
Yeah.
And
Is
ours
it-
is terrible. Our climate's hard because we literally, if you have a deck, your deck life expectancy with paint stain or anything like that is not very high. Like even if you have a stain that has like a 5-year warranty, if you call that 1-800 number and tell them where you're from, they void the warranty. We use our decks, we use our homes 10 times more than anywhere else. We use our homes in the winter, so we're shoveling. We just use things, and our weather, it's so unpredictable. We have a rainy season, your stain's not going to last as long. If you have a terrible winter, even if we have a hot summer, like the hot summer, you're going to get, your deck's going to dry up. And so it's crazy how weather and where you live affects everything.
Like a lot of things to keep in mind. I mean, I'm speak for myself. I don't know if you would agree with me, but like as a younger like guy, like stuff like this is something I don't really think much about. But I think like as I'm getting older, for example, like going away to university and now I have a student home, like I almost pride myself in like having nice furniture and decor because like when I go to other student homes and I'm like I'm so happy I have like we like took care and got like
Good
a
moms.
cabinet, good moms, good, like, you know what I mean? And people will come in and like and be like, oh wow, like it's like a home in here, like, and like you really start to think more about decor stuff. Like it's
that was me. Like
Yeah.
I had the, it was cool because I had the nice Always. And when there was like 5 or 6 of us, I'm like, oh, we'll do this sofa.
Yeah.
You can leave that, or we'd give it away or whatever. But
I guess that's
we
probably
did
funny.
too.
Yeah, if you're a bunch of students in interior design, and
Your
you
house
guys
is
all live
probably-
together, your
Yeah,
house
it
is
was
just
great.
to the nines.
Yeah.
Your house would be amazing.
It wasn't bad, but you can't control like because I painted the one year I painted a townhouse without permission, and when I mean painted it, I painted
Like-
the front door, I painted all the rooms,
Oh.
I painted ceilings, I painted everything. So the landlord
must have had a field
well,
day.
he came in at the end of it, and you know what? When you're in school and when you're young, you love color, you love to all this stuff.
You
Like we
just- this
sponge
house
painted
was-
walls,
Yeah.
you came in and it was like, but it was cool. It was like navies and stuff that is still popular. But like honestly, he literally said to me, "You're not leaving here until you repaint it." So I went to the store and I got 5-gallon pails of white and I repainted everything white. And back then that was like, oh, you painted it white? Now
No.
everybody
It's
loves
in.
white.
White's
It's perfect.
in.
Yeah.
Well, talking back about paint, is it kind of full circle and cool working at Benjamin Moore and now having your own business and being like one of the top sellers in
Yeah.
the city for Benjamin Moore paint? Is
Yeah.
that kind of cool? I'm
Yeah,
sure.
it's awesome because my boss in London, we still communicate,
Okay.
and then
That's really
I
cool.
also met so many other people that own Benjamin Moore's, and it's great. It's a great product, and because I know it so much, I've worked for other paint companies.
Mm-hmm.
I just never loved it as much. So it is great.
Yeah, that's really
it feels
cool.
good, and being still here after everything we've been through, just kind of trying to get everybody excited again. I think
Yeah.
that's like our main goal is to get everybody back excited again about their homes, about
Yeah.
doing things. And
Well, I was just checking. I've been all week. I've been looking at your guys' social medias, and you guys have been starting posting like Instagram Reels and TikToks, which I think is a great way to get people excited because that's so prevalent now and like
Yeah.
today. And making fun ideas, right? That's what's gonna hook people in. So
Yeah.
like,
we're trying, we're
Yeah.
learning. You
Yeah.
know, like
I think it's great. I think you guys are doing a great job.
Yeah, and having like when we have our students, we've been very fortunate the last couple of years with our students, and because having them with the technology side of things, like we designed a basement for a client of mine, and we're walking through the basement, you see everything. Like that's how cool technology has come.
Yeah,
And like
that's insane.
and the thing too is like we pivot very well. This company, this crew, this team, we pivot. If we see something that we need to change, we don't hesitate to like sit down. How are we going to make this work? We have to make this work better. You know, we've gone through the Christmases. Our first Christmas after when we reopened after COVID was a hugely successful Christmas. The next Christmas, I think people were just exhausted and tired, so it wasn't great. So this year, when we went to do our Christmas, like for 2022, we sat down and we went, let's change things up, and we went in a whole different direction, and it was hugely successful. And now we know that's what we have to be. We have to be unique. If everybody's carrying the same things in the city, like if we see a company carrying something, we're not going to rush to carry it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
No.
Some companies do that because they know,
Yeah.
oh, they're successful with it, we'll be successful. But it's not really, because when now you're competing with somebody
Yeah.
for a product, you know, it's find something else, find
Yeah.
something better.
Find the next thing.
Yeah, and that's the great part about like Instagram and stuff, because when you guys know,
Yeah.
when you're scrolling, you find things, right?
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
always,
Yeah.
even TikTok or whatever, there's always these new things that come up.
Yeah.
And you know, you got to get inspired by that.
Yeah.
I bought a few things and they weren't the same as they say they are. Just like the
That's how it works
green, you know, the
sometimes.
green face mask.
Yeah.
That all it's supposed to be like,
the
and they
best
show
thing.
it all. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's chia seeds. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I bought it. I mean, it's a
It
good
is.
mask, but it doesn't do what it tells
A lot of
you
that
it
stuff
does.
online is like, you know,
Yeah,
can't
you never
trust it.
really know.
Yeah.
My dad's famous for just spontaneously seeing something, ordering it, and it
Yeah.
being not even close.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I guess my brother just bought a home while he's building, actually. So I'm curious, do you guys do like consulting, like interior design? Would you go to a house and just, if I was to just like have at her and
Yeah.
design the whole place, is that
Well,
something you guys do?
We do up to like a certain degree, because I'm like qualified. So the way that it works is if this is the way, like people I don't think understand that. So interior designer is like you have to be a REDO qualified. So REDO qualified is like sort of you pay to be in that. I'm CDCA, so I'm certified up to a certain square footage.
Okay.
Because it's really
So it'd be more so like design this bedroom.
Well, no, I could do a
Or you
house.
can do a house.
I wouldn't like be able to do a huge commercial building. But what we would do is we come in and we give you ideas, and we sit down and we do a concept boards. So we do we've just done the lobby. We've done a lot of work at the penthouse at Quattro and stuff. So our whole idea too is like we give you all the ideas. We give you a concept board. We do drawings. We can do kitchens. We can do all those kind of things, and then but we just move that into the contractor's hands.
Okay.
So, but we also can do like we do like a lot of this stuff creations ourselves too. So we do all artwork, installations, stuff like that too as well. Yeah. So it is yes.
Yeah.
Your answer is
Okay.
yes.
Yes. You've been doing artwork recently, right? I've
Yeah.
seen what's the boards with the I was seeing on your Instagram like the flower.
Yeah,
like,
so it's all upcycled.
Okay.
Everything that I do is like is a sustainable upcycle. I use for my pours and stuff. It's all been from more paint that's been recycled and used,
Yeah.
and we specialize in making artwork for this person. So like if you let's just say we'll use your parents. You're too young to have it, but like they have some art pieces that they paid a lot of money for, and they don't love them anymore. So what they can do is they consult me, and I will take that piece of art and I'll cycle it, and maybe she has dried flowers from when she got married or stuff like that, and I can add it or
I see. So it's kind of like a sentimental piece almost. Like you took a bunch
Yeah.
of stuff that's just like, oh, it's old or something like that. You
Yeah.
kind of revamp it.
Yeah, and we use a lot
give
of
it life again.
and we use a lot of local outside stuff, like tons of foraging materials. Like we had a really cool experience that we'll be able to talk about like later, but we learned so much, and we're going to be able to do a lot of sustainable. Everything that we're trying to do is going to sustainability. Yeah, and we also are trying to promote like less chemical in products and more healthy living products. So everything we do, we're trying to do it specifically for you. So you walk in, certain things are like the way that you sit, the ergonomic, what makes sense for people now. So that's like the direction we're going in, and we're gonna like even up that even further.
That's awesome. Well, home interior design has been a very hot topic in my household since my brother and his girlfriend building their house. But I'm curious, what are like some up and coming trends in the home and decor world, like the farmhouse look, the modern look? Like, has there been a very, very, I guess, certain style that people are going for?
Yeah, like.
And what's your favorite style?
Well, I appreciate all styles. So I love a modern space, but with like inspired, like world inspired, like Moroccan inspired. So I love a really modern space, but then warm like pieces. So I appreciate it all. I've done all of it. I never say I'm not going to do a house that's farmhouse style, or I'm never going to do a house that's rustic or whatever. I love it all. The trend in the last few years have always been like Scandinavian, which is just a lot of white and clean with like that warm look, hides and pieces like that. That's been a big Sault Ste. Marie. Definitely the farmhouse, kind of like that. It's hard to. I'm trying to think. Jillian Harris look, where it's like everything is sort of whitewashed and soft. A lot of, they've gone from the beadboard to the shiplap, and that's gonna continue. Our city is traditional by heart, and a lot of homes, like they're building, but a lot of people are buying homes. It's hard because you have homes that are usually about 50 or 60 years old, and they have traditional bones. So it's really, you either work with it and try to put your flair in it, or you're completely gutting it out to look at like a different design. But our city has been traditional at heart. Like I'm not traditional, as you can see. I love traditional pieces, but at the same time, I like vintage pieces too.
Yeah.
But we try to be different. So if you walk into any other stores that have the home decor, you will look and you'll notice a lot of traditional when we try to go outside the box of traditional.
Yeah.
Sure.
What would you say your biggest inspiration is as far as like picking a style you like? Like, do you have like a massive Pinterest board where you're just saving everything?
My Pinterest is like way more organized than my life. It's so good.
You have like
so
folders
good.
for every style.
Well, so it helps me begin something, and then I take that and make it way better.
Yeah.
Like that's how I do it.
Right.
So,
like instead of like just not necessarily copying like
Yeah.
a style, like taking it and being like, how can I
Yeah,
make this better?
inspired
How
by
can
it.
how can I make this my own?
Yeah.
How can I do it better, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like it's and it's funny because I used to say all the time, Pinterest has destroyed the interior decorator's life because really you don't need one anymore if you have good sense and you have a good Pinterest board, right?
yeah, you can
So,
just go
but
through.
like I've realized that we are prevalent. It's
Mm-hmm.
just in a different way. We have to take what people are inspired by
Mm-hmm.
and make it reality for them and make it cost wise. Like you look at some of this stuff, it's. You know, it's your $10,000 light fixture is not. You're just gonna take that idea and say, okay, let's be more realistic on what we want to spend our money.
Yeah.
And when you're building the house, here's something that is gonna happen. Unfortunately, is when people are building a house, you end up spending a lot of your money on the actual physical home
Yeah.
building. That when it comes to the end, a lot of the times it's kind of like, okay, I'll just get what's in stock now for lighting. When you envision this or that, because it does.
You're just tapped out.
You get tapped out, and you know that's why our paint comes into play. Because paint's, you know what, paint's going on your walls.
Yeah.
So you might as well use it in a way to help, sort of, you know, putting a black accent wall or using it for here or doing that. Like it does help, but it does get draining, and by the time you're done with your fixtures in your home, it's sometimes, you know, the sofas and the chairs and the tables are not going to be your
Advice to any new first-time home buyers or people building: don't rush the process and
Exactly.
get tapped out. Get what
Exactly.
you want, because
Yeah, what I say to people all the time when you buy a house that's not yours, to live in it for about 3 to 6 months, even through 2 seasons, and then make decisions on, because you don't even know, sometimes you might have a den that you thought that it was going to be a den, and once you're living there, it's something else. So if you go furnish something and then afterwards it's not even that, so it's better to just kind of live in it for a bit, use the basics, keep your basics, and then really find where you're gonna live in your house. Like some people will finish their basement completely to the nines and never go down it. Like that's my house. We finished the basement for Dylan. We thought, you know what, he's going to be 16, 17 years old. He's going to want to be downstairs with his friend that's fully beautiful. And he still likes upstairs.
yeah.
And so we've got this finished basement that we put a lot of money into that's not getting used. But things that we did do were like, when I designed the house, I made 4 feet staircase. I worked in a furniture store for a long time. I know that 3 feet isn't cutting a sectional going down.
Yeah.
Because we, you know, when we got the call that we had to break walls and take off, you know,
get a couch
handrails
down.
and
Yeah.
stuff just to maybe get the
Yeah.
furniture downstairs. So like if you have control of stuff like that, but that's again things that I have learned.
That
Like
you'd
I've
know.
learned you should always have a room for storage.
Yeah.
Make a room and it's all shelves, and because you need that place to put all the Christmas stuff, the especially if you have children, right? All the snow suits in the summer, it becomes, if you don't have proper storage, and that could be what the basement is used, but the big trend right now for houses is not building basements.
Yeah.
Slab on grade basements, I'm going to say probably in
dying.
the next 10 years, people are not going to do them. They're going to focus on the house, a lot more outdoor living.
Okay.
Like outdoor home, like rooms that are
Yeah.
more like less, and rooms off the back, and a lot of outdoor living. Because I think one of the biggest things we were taught is that we didn't use our houses enough, and then we were forced to use our homes and realized what we were doing, right? You're at, like, we bought a pizza oven. It happened before, but the pizza oven is like the best thing ever. It's this big pizza oven. We have people over and we make pizzas, and our backyard, you know, we made a bigger deck for it. And now you know, bonfires are back.
Yeah.
They were gone for a while. Now they're back.
Yeah.
They're, you know, having people over, using your homes.
Using it for, right.
Yeah, for more outdoor living and more
sure.
entertaining.
That's awesome. Well, we got a final question for you here. So if you had an unlimited budget here in Sault Ste. Marie and you can start a business, it can't be this one. You can start any business to, I guess, help the downtown or do whatever it is that you want to do. What business are you starting? And then just why you're going to start that
Oh my
business.
gosh, I don't know. That's a hard one.
We like to,
Or if there's something that, if there's a business you can't think of, I know you're talking a lot about sustainability going into the
Yes.
future.
I-
Is there something you would, I think you want to tie back into that? Like what would you
like,
use to get to where you wanted to be?
I would love to really go into sustainable, but I and like even sustainable living, like I would love to design a living space of some sort of condo, younger condo living. Our city hasn't gotten there yet. With the condo living is usually retirement.
I've actually never thought about that. Yeah, having
Yeah.
like a nice condo building here in downtown Sault Ste. Marie, because
Downtown,
that's
really
Yeah.
nice, completely sustainable. So we're
Mhm.
talking green space everywhere, like your water filtration system, and like kind of run it like almost not a. It's something I've never seen, but like kind of run it like a bed and breakfast, not really, but have the facility to help like maintain the places.
Yeah.
So, you know, like being able to, you know, once a week have like sustainable, like for cleaning clothes, laundry. So you
Yeah.
have like all these things within it
Right.
that would
Almost like a residence building or like
Yeah,
or like
yeah.
a hostel like somewhere like
something
where,
really cool like that, where you have almost everything like that you need, and there's people to do it. So like you would drop all your clothes at the end of the week, and they would be clean.
Yeah, it's actually a good idea. I haven't heard anyone, or I haven't even thought about something like
Yeah,
that, like
a
a nice
garden.
condo
Yeah.
building, because
A
everything's kind
garden.
of dated here.
You know,
Yeah, that'd be
that's
good.
maintained by the people that own it. Like you'd have a garden space and all this stuff that is almost like a little mini like world of your own
Yeah.
kind of thing within. Like I love the downtown has great businesses, unbelievable, and people haven't tapped into it. I bet you guys, if you took a walk and you walked straight down, you go, whoa,
This is
what
here.
is this?
Yeah.
You know, you've got Main Street down there as a spa, has the most beautiful steam
Yeah.
like thing. It's a great place. It's got the great cafe. You've even
it
seen
is a
Meat
nice
Market.
spot. It's like a hidden gem. Like,
yeah, have
I'm
you guys gone into
surprised-
City Meat Market before?
I
Not.
no.
Obsessive. You go in there,
It's
they have the
amazing,
coolest
yeah.
stuff in there, and like you can get sandwiches made, all that kind of stuff. You can make wine across the street.
Yeah.
You go down further as you go. There's so many cool businesses that I think I wish that people would just do a walk down. There's
Well,
clothing stores I didn't
yeah.
even know existed.
Well, that's kind of what we're hoping to do with this, is almost get
Yeah.
that exposure to businesses down
Yeah.
here, because there's a lot of
Yeah.
great business down here that like people don't know about.
Yeah, like
never
Stones,
see.
people think that Stones is like just office equipment. I went in there and I was blown away by the things for artists
Wow.
and stuff like that. You know, there's the music, it's beautiful. Case music, the restaurants are fantastic. You know, and Arturo's is insane. Like they're all good. Like now even we have that Superior. Have you guys seen their new deck up there?
No.
Like
Oh yes, yeah,
it's
beautiful, yeah, great
so
patio,
fantastic. You know, so like honestly, take a walk and just peek in at some of the stuff. There's a really cool artist. I
Really?
just saw it like the other day that has like it's called the Art something Emporium maybe or something. There's Stephanie's Joy. She does like high tea, like
that's crazy.
unreal what's down here, and I'm hoping, and like you guys are helping with that people
Yeah.
will come down here and you know what, start on one end and take a walk. It's beautiful, and walking along the boardwalk, stop. There's somewhere to stop and eat and have a drink the whole
Yeah.
way around here. It's
Yeah.
Well,
I hope the next 4 years are gonna
Maybe a sustainable living 500-person condo will do the trick, and we
Yeah.
can get a bunch of people down here. But yeah, I guess if you want to tell the people where they can find you, where you guys are located, your hours, the social media and whatnot, and just if people want to come see you paint decor, where can they?
Yeah. Oh, we're across from the Old Stone House, next to City Meat Market, 826 Queen Street East, and we're 9 to 4 every day right now. Sunday's closed.
Okay.
And yeah, our social media, Instagram, Paint Decor Concepts, Facebook. We do a lot in Instagram. So if anybody has questions, you can message us through there. Even if you want to send your colors or ideas through there, we'll help you.
Well, awesome. Once again, a huge shout out to you guys for being the first sponsor, and obviously for you to allow us to speak with you today
awesome.
during store hours and whatnot. So
Thanks
sure you
for
guys
letting
can-
us
Oh,
dive
you guys are
into your
great.
business and getting
Yeah.
to know more. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Well, like, subscribe, comment down below, and if you want to be a guest, send us over a DM, and we'd be more than happy having the podcast. Thanks again, Amelia.
Welcome.
And,
Thank you guys.
Thanks so much.